but it is interesting in terms of that it is a successful program in context of Nepal also. It's a very successful programs for in Nepal has been successful to get the problem out of the country, but it's still it's not that there is no problem, but this is one of the program that we should be proud, our country is proud about. That's why this today class is interesting. And like if you go and look historically, we had problem of Maoist insurgency and political instability for long time, or like we got a democracy in 2046. After that, stable government was for a certain period, and then there was an unstable government, and recently we got the stable government a few years back only, after changing the whole system and all the system. But despite of that, there are a few good things that we could do, and that is also a few good things that we did during that period was in the improvement and the health. And if you look our MDG target, Millennium Development Goal target and achievement, and we were successful on that also, and other program also like vitamin A programs, which also attribute to the decrease in the child mortality. That's one of the target of the MDG. So these are the few good things that happened during the time of the bad period also, like a few good examples that were successful program that time. Our topic is vitamin A deficiency for today. So still vitamin A deficiency, now the problem has come down because of a few good programs like vitamin A supplementation every 6 monthly, but still it's affecting 21% of the developing world preschool children, and that lead to the 8,000 women and children death here, not directly but indirectly. That's it has got effect on that. And vitamin A deficiency is estimated to be responsible for nearly 1/4 of global child mortality from measles, diarrhea, and malaria. Like we'll talk later on. So vitamin A deficiency is not only important in terms of like decreasing the ocular manifestation or affecting the eye only, deficiency of vitamin, but it has a systematic effect also. And overcoming the vitamin A deficiency has improved in the child immune systems and decreased the mortality from like measles, diarrhea, or malaria, or 20% of the maternal mortality itself. That's vitamin A deficiency is responsible for that. And as I said, that the silent syndrome compromises the immune system function also. It's not only affect the, we know that vitamin A is needed for the retinal formations, and that's why the deficiency will lead into the blindness. In addition to that, it's also this syndrome of the vitamin D deficiency also comprised of the immune systems problems and leading to the inability to of the child fight against the infections such as malaria and diarrhea. And as we were discussing, this is also one of the leading cause for the preventable childhood blindness in developing countries. So what is vitamin A? We discussed about that. Vitamin A, it's an essential nutrient. It's a micronutrient required for the normal functioning of the visual systems, maintaining of cell function of growth, epithelial cells, cellular integrity, immune function, and reproduction. So it's not only responsible for or required for non-functioning of the cells of the visual system. It has got other role also. And the vitamin A comes in the two forms, one from the animal source and the plant source. Animal source is a retinol one. It's a preformed vitamin A, whereas the plant source is a carotenoid, which is a provitamin A, which need to be converted into the retinol, and then that is utilized by the cells. And this conversion took place in the liver from carotenoid to the retinols. And aside from the ocular sign like night blindness and xerophthalmia, it has got the range of non-specific symptoms, so that syndromically measuring the prevalence of the vitamin A might not be sufficient also. Like if you also the classifications of the WHO classification of night or xerophthalmia. So that's also give roughly idea like how many percentage of the deficiency is there in the populations by checking for the particular sign and symptoms. But exact that only like if you know that there's 1% of the beta deficiency, it's not that in the population will have the 1% of the vitamin A deficiency, because it's not necessary every time there should be the ocular manifestations. So that's why biochemical measurement of the retinol is necessary to understand the true picture of the deficiency in the community. Cause, it's as in the protein energy malnutrition we're discussing, it's a disbalance between the intake and expenditures, and few conditions that can, like I showed you in the I think during the balanced diet class or a nutritional assessment class, I showed you like how weighing balance system, like there should be intake and expenditure. So there are the other factors that will affect the intake and the expenditures, that is a balance between. So cause is also the divided into that way, like one cause could be the poor diet, which means intake is affected, or intake is affected. Another could be diarrhea, means excessive loss, or demand is high, supply and demand is high. Measles means demand will be high that time due to the infections, or round mound infestation. This affect the intake part, not the demand part, but supply part. If there is a round mound infestation, there will be competitions, and which result in the decreased absorption of the vitamin. So these are the cause for the deficiency. And how it is manifestation? It has ocular and non-ocular manifestations. Main feature is xerophthalmia, which consists of the night blindness, which is the initial features of the initial feature of the ocular manifestations, in which the child will has got difficulty to see during the night. Bitter spot, it's a first sign of the vitamin A deficiency, which is dry, muddy, wrinkled conjunctiva, which is followed by the silvery foamy patches on temporal side, this side of cornea. Okay, photophobia, and later on also it causes the dryness of the cornea and xerophthalmia. All these features will be in the later stage of the ocular manifestations. Like this is a picture of the bitter spot at the border of the cornea, temporal side, foamy features, bitter spot. So WHO classification is like this way. First is like primary and secondary, but also there is xerophthalmia classification. First is a XN, it's a night blindness, and then the conjunctival xerosis is a dryness, then bitter spot, and then corneal xerosis is a corneal dryness, ultimately lead to the corneal ulceration affecting the 1/3 of cornea or more than 1/3 of cornea, and that lead to the corneal scarring and fundal changes. So these are the WHO classification of xerophthalmia. You can look into your book also it has divided into primary and secondary, and sometimes it's divided into the order also, like night blindness to the corneal scarring. Okay. So these about the briefly introduction of the vitamin A deficiency, sign and symptoms of the vitamin A deficiency. And now we'll move to the what are the prevention and strategy for the vitamin deficiency. As we discussed for the protein energy malnutrition, we will discuss in the sequence of the level of intervention. Like last time we were discussing about the health promotions and then the specific interventions, and under the primary preventions and early diagnosis and treatment, and in terms of the secondary prevention and disability limitation rehabilitation in the tertiary prevention. So that's how we are going to discuss. And vitamin E deficiency is a preventable. It's not like the irreversible. It's early stage reversible also, whatever, like night blindness or beta spots. Not you are going to lead into the blindness if you treat in early. It's a reversible as well as a preventable problems. So for the preventions, one could be the health education for vitamin A rich diet, like green leafy vegetable, deep yellow fruits and vegetables, liver, egg or necessary fat for the absorption, and in addition that the 6 monthly supplementation of 6 months to 5 years. So under the health promotions, we could do the health promotion targeted to the pregnant woman, so that prevent the low birth weight and promoting the eating the green leafy vegetables and all these things, and promotion of the breastfeeding, because that's also because breast milk is a good source of whole nutrient content, holistic nutrient content rich. So it's better than always better than the formula feed. So that's also very important. It will be applicable for the any kind of childhood malnutrition. Breast milk will be the always better one. So promotion of breastfeeding as long as possible, and proper weaning, rich in diet with all the nutrient rich. So that part also will affect that, and promoting, especially if you have things from the vitamin A, then the fruits and vitamin A rich vegetables should be taken during the time of the weaning. And health awareness, giving educations about the effect of the vitamin A deficiency and the prevention aspect. So this is under the health promotion part. On the specific protections, that as I was discussing previously, as a 6 monthly supplementations of the 6 monthly from 6 months to 5 years, 59 months, that's a 5 years. Nepal government also does the vitamin A supplementation program, and so under this specific protection, that will be the basic strategy. And targeted group are the children and lactating mothers. So how we could do that? One that's we are practicing is for 6 months to 1 year, we give 1 lakh international unit of vitamin A every 6 months and immunization against the measles. It's that, but for the 1 years to 5 years, we need to give the 2 lakhs international unit of vitamin A every 6 months. And for the lactating mother also, 2 lakhs unit at the time of delivery or within 2 months of the delivery. So this is given. Actually, the criteria is to have the night blindness of 1% or higher, or vitamin A deficiency of 20% higher to in infant and children to implement these programs. And currently also still we have got this program like vitamin A supplementation program for children, and also giving the vitamin A for the lactating mothers or prescribing the vitamin A for the lactating mothers. Okay. And during the pregnancy, this is not usually it is practiced, but it is usually intervention is practiced targeted where the problem of the night blindness in the community, and vitamin A is also given to the pregnant woman, but those should be modified for the pregnant woman. It's not like that because it is a teratogenic, like giving the 1 lakh unit will be the very high dose, and it may affect the child if it is especially given in the already 3 months of the pregnancy. So it need to be given the modified dose, and dose is either 10,000 IU daily or 25,000 IU weekly. It is given, and it is given minimum for the 12 weeks until the delivery. So small amount for longer period of time rather than high dose at the one time, which is given for the children and lactating mothers that we are giving. But for the pregnancy, it's a small amount for longer period of time. And the route of administration is oral. The same thing for the supplementation program for children and lactating mothers. And where we should be given. If the population prevalence is of night blindness is 5% or higher, or pregnant or higher in pregnant woman, 5% or higher in pregnant woman, or 5% of higher in 2 years to 5 years old. Means we were giving the vitamin A supplementations for the night blindness having the 1%, but here to target to the pregnant woman, there should be 5% of the night blindness in the population, and then only we give to the this pregnant woman. It's not that the